full of whispers, alibis thin. Two sharp-eyed sleuths say, all right, who sinned? Has tipped low, clues fall in line. They read between the lines, right on time. Grim starts sweating when the squad rolls through. Every story tested, most don't stand up to prove. So grab your fedora, jump right in. True Crime Squad's on, and the trouble begins. Join the super squad, bonus laughs, deeper clues. Same sharp sleuths, just extra clues.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It is going pretty well.
It was a very weird day.
It was a very weird day.
Tech was terrible today.
Yeah. Technology, those of you that watched the streamed trial with us, thank you for your patience with us, because boy, did we have some challenges, and some of them were on our end and a lot of them were not.
Yeah.
Court TV was
out of
problems.
the gate. Oh yeah, everybody was. Everyone was. About 9 o'clock this morning, my internet just completely disappeared until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Just I had nothing. Didn't matter what we did.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting then that we're seeing everybody having some buffering problems, everybody having some sound quality problems, cutting in and out stuff. Just thinking that everybody was having, the internet trouble was not just exclusive to my house.
No, it was definitely not.
But it was a full moon eclipse about 3 o'clock this morning, if you don't know. A blood moon, as well as Mercury is in retrograde. And you add those things together, and whether you believe in astrology or not, a lot of times they are chaotic times. And today I thought back that up real well.
Having done live streaming like we do for a decade or more now, we have seen it over and over and over again. There are certain things that happen that are gonna fuck with the tech.
Oh yeah. This stuff right here, it is. I bet tomorrow's better though. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Because it will move through this pretty quick. But yeah, that was made today hard because Kristi and I were shoveling back and forth trying to carry the stream. Kristi was literally carrying the stream from her infusion center. So thanks to them.
I hope I didn't make their Wi-Fi too slow. Well, and then I had to pull off what I didn't even know was possible, because I had to drive home from the infusion center and get off the Wi-Fi. So I got on my phone, and I didn't know if the data from my phone would even, I didn't know if it would end our live. Guess what? It didn't. Yeah. I made it home. I literally lived 5 minutes. Okay, it was 5 minutes from my infusion center, but still,
that could easily
I wasn't sure what was going to happen, if we were going to have to start a brand new stream. Well, it didn't. We did end up starting about 5 minutes late, however, coming back from lunch, but that was it. I was pretty impressed.
We made it.
Yeah, we survived.
That was a weird day. It was also an interesting day because the state announced kind of right out of the gate today that there would be one witness that they figured would take most of the day. And sometimes that makes my stomach clench because, oh God, what are we going to have to, what's going to happen here? How long is this poor person going to be on cross? Like, gosh. And Nestor for the defense came out of the gate nasty this morning. Difficult with the state, with the judge. How does she get away with it?
I don't know.
The way she talks to the judge.
Right. The way she talks to the judge. And also the fact that many of the things that she was mad about today have already been ruled on by the judge. And the judge keeps reminding her, I've ruled on this. And you know how the defense likes to do that sort of ongoing objection to a certain thing. And that was happening all day today.
Yeah.
It's for appeals. But for, I don't know, we still had to argue. They still had to go have sidebars and argue multiple times. And I got to think the judge is damn sick of that, because he's like, this was motion in limine stuff that happened before the trial began that has been ruled on. But she's just pushing and pushing just in case, he might change his mind. And I'll tell you what, who doesn't change his mind? And that's this judge.
No.
He's like, you know my answer. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to say.
Yeah.
But whatever.
There were 9 sidebars today. 9.
Yeah, that's a freaking lot.
That's a lot. I'll tell you about them.
Oh, can I
Go
show
ahead.
my show and tell first?
Oh, yes.
I was telling you guys about my lip stain marker last night, and some of you in comments asked what it was. I don't know if you can see the name, but it's Pixie, and it's this sort of lime green color. So the brand is Pixie, Pixi, and then behold the lip stain marker. It is legit a marker.
That is cool.
It's awesome. So anyway, I wanted to
Okay.
share that because some of you were like, now I got to know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So Pixie, Pixi. I got it at Target. I don't know.
Very cool.
That's what I know.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Right? The judge is so freaking smart. Yeah.
Oh,
And
he is.
organized. Yeah. Jackie said his mind
Yeah.
is a steel trap. It's so impressive. Well, every bit as impressive as the forensic accountant today. Holy
Holy
Lord.
shit, that woman's got a memory.
Wow. She
The
was
things that she
something.
could just pull out of thin air. She didn't have to look at her report one time.
No, she knew
She
everything.
just knew. It was
And
wild.
I mean, I am sure that the defense was over there taking wild notes, trying really hard to discredit some of the stuff she was saying, and coming back up on cross. But honestly, she did not give them much. But let's talk about all the sidebars because holy hell, there was just a lot of them. A lot of them considering that most of what they were fighting about had already been discussed. But
Yeah.
we were back to the sidebar over and over. So
Yeah.
the first sidebar was at 8:58. Then again at 9:59, this was about an exhibit about the property deed and HELOC evidence. Then again at
Yes.
10. So 9:45 and 10 and
Mm-hmm.
10:12. 3
Yeah.
sidebars in 30 minutes.
Jesus.
Uh,
At least they didn't make the jury go out every single time like some of them they dealt with in sidebar.
yeah,
Because the jury had to be like, are you serious?
yeah. The one at 10 was about another exhibit. The one at 10:12 was when the witness said that the documents prepared by Kouri were incorrect. The defense didn't like that.
No. Except it turns out, oh, were they incorrect? Whoa.
Wildly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then again at 11:21, this was again about an exhibit. Then at 1:15, this was about testimony related to the tax returns. Then at 3:01, when the defense tried to question the witness about business accounts, uh, she went pretty far out of scope, I thought, multiple times in the cross.
Yeah, she tried to slip some stuff in that
Hmm
had not been presented on direct at
And
all.
she got away with it too a few times, but the
Mm-hmm.
state didn't even say anything. But at 3:39, this was the defense requested by the defense during cross-examination about an exhibit, and then again at 4:06 to talk about scheduling before recess. So yeah, 9. That's a lot for one day with one witness.
With
A
one
lot.
witness, yeah.
But I think it
But
just
that's
goes
because
to
this
show,
witness.
yeah, that I don't think the defense really wanted the jury to hear any of this. And of course, they had
No.
the standing arguments, 404B being one of them, not wanting the jury to hear things that make Kouri sound like a shitty person, which, we've heard about. These are the same kind of arguments we've heard in literally every trial we've ever covered. But,
Right.
yeah, yep. So, let's kind of get into it. So, today was the forensic accountant, Brooke Carrington. So she talked about years of financial records connected to Kouri and her real estate company. It was pretty obvious that the prosecution was trying to show what a mess Kouri's finances were. And
My God.
I think
And
that,
were they?
my God, well, the numbers were just shocking. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess to a little poor kid like me, the numbers were shocking.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself about the jury because we know that jury is going to be a mix of quite affluent people and people that are just, middle class, hardworking people that probably don't make a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And I was thinking some of those folks in the jury right now, their heads are spinning hearing these enormous, to me, chunks of change versus other people that are probably sitting there going, well, yeah, that's what I paid for my house. You know, like
Yeah. Although
very
if any of
different.
those, if they're like affluent business people, they're
They have to
like,
be horrified by this.
this
Yeah.
chick is an idiot.
Hmm.
Because she's, God, the things she's done.
And
Listen to this.
so out of control.
Marta says, I've noticed that attorneys seem to feel like they can exhibit more bad behavior and push the envelope in smaller courtrooms. It's like a mammalian dominance thing, weird, way more peacocking.
Interesting.
That is very interesting. Well, that would track with what's gone on in this trial.
Yeah.
We've seen quite a bit of peacocking.
Yeah. So,
And also some dodoing.
yes, but I was going to say Ramos seems to have gotten his peacocking right under control. And
Yeah.
at this point, I'd rather see him than anybody else because, well, nobody wants to see Lewis ever again. But
No, because
geez,
she's the
Nestor
dodo.
has just been, yes, she is, but Nestor has just been vile the last couple of days.
Yeah.
I really want to respect Nestor. I do. She is representing in another case that we're covering. I think that she has a lot of accomplishments, but man, her tone is tough for me. And you just always have to kind of step back and go, okay, would I, how would I feel about that tone or this behavior or this line of questioning if I didn't really know anything about this case? If I was on the jury, if I was brand new to all of this, would I be offended by that or
Sure.
not? And
Yeah.
some of it, I know I would. You know, I think a
They
lot of
kind of
people
show
get
their
very
hand doing it.
uncomfortable. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, people get uncomfortable by really confrontational stuff, by uh, the back and forth and stuff. Some people that hurts their hearts a lot, hurts their
Mm-hmm.
constitution. Anyhow, I wonder how the jury is taking that kind of behavior. But you're right, too. They do show their hand. When you fight really hard against something, surely their ears are pricked because why are you fighting so hard against this?
Yeah.
Why don't you want us to know this?
Why is this so important?
They also discussed today when Kouri was in jail. I thought we weren't allowed to say that Kouri was
Yeah,
ever in
the
jail.
defense did.
Yeah, the defense did.
Like, really?
You wanted a mistrial.
Really? Yeah.
And now you're
Yeah.
also talking about Kouri being in jail?
Yeah,
Wowza.
and talking about when she was arrested. And yeah, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what we learned today about Kouri's financial situation. Before Eric died, Carrington testified that in March of 2022, or about the time that Eric died, Kouri had 6.3 to 6.4 million in assets, but about 8 million in liabilities. So her net worth was about 1.6 million in the negative. At the
Yeah,
same time, she
that's
owed
a lot of debt.
a lot of money. Yeah. At the same time, she owed 7.5 million in total debt. And her monthly debt payments, please gird your loins for this. And yes, you heard correctly when I said they were $80,000 per month.
Yeah.
$80,000 per month.
Bitch had payday loans. Payday loans.
Big ones. Yeah.
Some of them had a daily payment due. Daily. How? What?
Mhm.
Holy shit.
That was thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars due daily.
Yeah.
I'm just flummoxed, right? GSI said, don't we all owe over 80K a month? Right. I mean,
Thank
it
God,
just goes
no.
to show you how desperate she was and out of control she was.
Yeah.
It's just hard to fathom.
Out of control.
That kind of debt.
I really think, is Kouri bipolar? Is this a mental health issue? I think it very well could be.
Mhm.
Some wildly impulsive things that she did.
Mhm.
And it was like the more debt she had, the more debt she wanted to get. Like she just wanted to keep growing it and
Yeah.
growing it.
Yeah. Just getting away with it. She relied heavily on high interest, hard money lenders and payday lenders. So what hard money lenders are people that will invest in flippers like them because it's a quick loan where you'll get the money you need very quickly so that you can get a hold of that property and get it rehabbed and get it flipped. But the downside is the interest is high and the collateral is usually the home. So you don't necessarily need to have a down payment. You don't necessarily need to have good credit. They're just looking at the property itself. But again,
Yeah.
the interest is high, especially if you don't get the house flipped quickly. And she seemed to kind of struggle with that as well, getting things turned around quickly.
Yeah, because that really is the goal. Is like, hey, you don't want to have to pay payments on something. You want to just flip it and pay it off. Like that's the way it goes. But I don't think there was a
Hmm.
lot of that going on.
Right. She also was notorious for bouncing checks. She
Oh my
wrote
God.
a lot of rubber checks, and a lot of them she wrote to herself.
Yes.
So she had written about $300,000 in bad checks. I mean,
That
it,
is unfathomable to me.
it's isn't that prison right there? I
The way she was doing it and writing them to herself, like knowingly writing bad checks to herself for cash, basically,
yeah,
and then the bank returning it. And basically, what she was doing is just she was buying herself time,
buying a few days. Yeah,
buying a few days. Yeah.
but remember,
But
she has
holy shit.
about a $5,000 per day payment.
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
so wild to me. And that and that the bank continued to allow her to do that. Although the the forensic accountant had a very good explanation for why that was, and it made a total sense to me. But
yeah. Do you want to talk about why she said what she said?
well, what she said is that Kouri was using the same bank as her husband's business,
Yes.
and her husband's business made a lot of money, and it didn't bounce checks, and it didn't go in the red.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were looking at the relationship there, that if they
Mm-hmm.
booted Kouri, that probably Eric's business would have taken their business away. And so it
Yeah.
was worth it to them to have this liability of Kouri constantly writing bad checks on her
Mm-hmm.
account, because they were making money on the
Yep.
stonemason business,
Yep.
which made a lot of sense to me. You can see why
Mm-hmm. Well,
they
right. That bank
they would
carried
have
his
lost
business
money that way.
account, their family account. Yeah. I mean, and I'll go on a limb and assume that they probably also had some of his other family. I mean, Eric's family was affluent.
Right. Right. And so, yeah, they probably just were like, well, we
Hmm.
make more than we lose here, but still, my
Yeah. So she wrote about 60K in checks to herself that bounced. In December 2021 alone, again, yes, these numbers are, you're accurate in what you're hearing. 77 overdraft transactions. 77 overdrafts in December 2021 alone.
God, my God,
$91,000 in failed transactions and around $2,000 in bank fees.
my God.
Yeah.
What?
Carrington said that money would come in and then be instantly depleted to nothing to cover the debts that were already waiting or new loans coming in.
Yeah, 'cause she was constantly doing that robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of situation where everything she made was spent before she even got it.
Yeah. But
Just
can you
wild.
imagine writing 77 checks in 1 month? And those are just the
No,
ones that bounced. Those are
right.
just the ones
There
that
were
bounced.
probably some that cleared.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Things
Hard to
were
say.
bad.
Very bad. But again, it just goes to show how desperate she was. Her real estate deals were frequently not very good. She was a home flipper, but the analysis that the forensic accountant did showed that many of her deals actually did not generate profit. One property lost about $155,000. Another deal made 47,000, but there were large loan balances tied to the project that offset the gains. Because again, she's constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul, borrowing against this thing so that she can do this thing and then come back and pay this back later. And
Yeah.
it's exhausting. Exhausting.
It had to
Um,
be mentally exhausting to her all the time. because she's in this crisis situation constantly, knowing that, she's only a couple of days away from just losing everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, can
So
you
she's got
imagine
to
the
constantly
stress?
making new deals.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I cannot imagine the stress.
Oh, I would not. I would not survive it. I would not. Uh, Red said you're surprised her husband put up with all the shenanigans. He didn't know. We don't know what he did and didn't know, but it appears that by and large he stayed out of it. Maybe he did know in the beginning and finally went, okay,
Yeah, I need to stay
I'm
as
going
far
to
away
be
from
over
this
here
as
running my
possible.
successful business. You just do what you do. Also,
Yeah.
she was super manipulative and dishonest, so who knows what he did or didn't know.
Ooh, be careful with the word successful, though. We don't want to
Right.
piss off the defense.
No, you didn't get to say that he put more money in the bank account than she did.
Except he did.
There was a big fight over that with the defense.
Yeah.
That they had said that in their family account that both of them put money into it for their, basic costs of living and things like that, but that Eric put more money in the account than Kouri did. And oh man, the defense took umbrage at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really did. I loved this witness so much because she honestly, she backtalked the defense quite a bit and said, I'm not trying to fight with you, but what you said is not true. She said stuff like that a lot.
Yeah. Over and over. Yeah.
Well, because Eric had a paycheck. Eric got paid from his business, and that paycheck went where? Into the joint account.
Yeah.
And Kouri was just sometimes putting money in there, and it wasn't that she hadn't put quite a bit in there, but what Nestor got pissed about is when she said, well, they both regularly put money in, and she said, I would not say that's true.
Yeah.
Because Eric did regularly put money in, but
yes,
not consistently did Kouri.
But Eric's business was formatted differently. Correctly.
Yeah.
It seems,
Yeah, it was different. Kouri was running an LLC by the seat of her pants that didn't even really have QuickBooks.
Right.
And yet she's dealing in hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. It was.
And always wanting to buy the next big thing, whether she could afford it or not. One of the things that the accountant said was that nearly all of her purchases, her home purchases, were based 100% on borrowed money. She wasn't putting any skin in the game. She didn't have any to put in the game.
No. You'd have to make money on some of these deals, and so many of them didn't make money.
Yep. Carrington said that by late 2021, new funding sources were drying up. So she was constantly trying to find some more funding anywhere. Literally payday loan places. I mean, that is so shocking to me for this home, for the real estate stuff. I can't even, but
yeah.
At any rate, she had screwed enough people over that, or put them off forever or wrote them bad checks and stuff until she finally got them a good check that people were ready to stop loaning to her. It was apparent that she didn't have any money and that she was out of control.
Yeah.
So
Jackie says,
Go ahead.
Jackie's asking, what's the tea on her aunt being the co-owner of her business? That was not ever mentioned one time today by the forensic accountant.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's true. Or they would have been naming them both, because when they talked about Eric's business, they talked about Eric and Kouri.
His partner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know on that.
No.
Let's talk about the Midway Mansion. This was one of the kind of more shocking deals.
Mm-hmm.
So she purchased this property for $2.9 million. She borrowed $3.2 million to close. She walked away from it with about $87,000 in cash at closing. This property needed $3 million in renovations.
Yeah.
That she did not have.
It was still particle board. Not good. It was huge, but it was in terrible shape.
And this was the
So it
one.
had like Tyvek on the outside and stuff. Like it was
Hmm
not good.
This was the one that she really thought was going to be her, I think, that she thought was going to be her real ticket to make some serious money.
Yeah.
But Eric died on March 4th. She closed on the Midway Mansion on March 5th. Yeah,
You know,
the day after her husband
the
died.
day after he died.
And a week after she tried to sell it. It eventually went into foreclosure in May of 2023. I cannot imagine who was foolish enough to give her $3 million, but I'll bet they regret it.
Well, they didn't really give it to her. She had an investor or the loan person sold it.
Yeah. But still, it was a bad bet. A really bad
Yeah.
bet. Yeah. On the life insurance, you know how she was Googling every 5 minutes or so how long it takes to get your life insurance payment?
Yeah.
So Eric had 2.2 million in life insurance policies. About 1.3 million of that was paid to Kouri. Carrington said that the first million was deposited on June 16th, 2022. Half of it was gone in 8 days. 8 days. $500,000 down.
Yeah.
All of the insurance money was spent within 3 months. By September 2022, Kouri had about $800 left in her accounts.
From $1.3 million.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, what?
Uh,
But she had so much debt that
Yeah.
the life insurance just disappeared off
It just,
to bills that were already due before she even got the life insurance.
yep. Just got gobbled up immediately. Ashley, I think that's a good point. Ashley said, how did she have any energy left to parent her 3 kids? Right? These kids had to have been falling through the cracks long before Eric's death. Long
Right.
before. She's out there hustling to pay a $5,000 a day payment. And she has 3 little kids at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paula said, I have to talk myself into spending the money to order pizza. Right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't doubt that when you're a house flipper, very large sums of money move in and out of your bank rather quickly. That I
Sure.
understand.
Sure.
But it just didn't seem like there was a lot coming in. It was just mostly going out.
Going out.
And when money
Yeah.
did come in, it disappeared to bills so quickly that like she
Yeah.
hardly ever even saw it.
Yeah.
But she just kept buying houses, friends.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But definitely one bad decision after another. Yeah.
Well, what was it? She bought one house in 2020, 5 houses in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Or have I got this wrong?
Nope.
No. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2022, she bought 15 houses.
Yeah. I have a thing on that.
It's something like that. Absolutely whack-a-doodle.
Yeah. One house in
Oh,
2019.
I'm 1 year off. Okay.
Mm-hmm. 5 houses in 2020. 15 houses in 2021. And then one house in 2022.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that the forensic accountant said is that this level of growth is extremely difficult to manage.
Sure. Sure.
To grow that quickly, especially because she didn't have much help. Like it's not like she
No.
had a tax accountant and that's all. She didn't have a
Mhm.
financial advisor, somebody managing this money side of things. No, she was doing it
No.
herself.
Yep. 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 It was a lot. Really a lot. And she just I clearly wasn't making money on these deals because she was just robbing Peter to pay Paul to get to the next deal, to get to the next
And just
deal.
more loans and more loans and more loans.
Mhm.
Yes, and that she got a PPE loan.
Yeah. During COVID. Yep.
I mean, how much lying did she do to get that loan?
Well, I think we have some sense
Yeah, I think we do.
because she did write this bio for herself that said, I've been doing real estate investing for 4 years, from fix and flip projects to buy and holds to investing in companies and wholesaling. I have done small projects as low as $2,500 for an auction home, up to selling multi-million-dollar flip and fix projects, fix and flip projects. I have a master's degree in human resources, in which has been very valuable in running my company of 147 employees based out of Park City. I am currently working on my general contractor's license that will be complete within the next month. I have been certified through Renatus Real Estate Investment Education, and I also obtain a real estate license. In my last 5 deals alone, I have profited nearly $1 million. I am very confident in my work, in my team, and my projects I invest in. I would love to work with new investors on upcoming projects to really maximize the ability of our real estate investing capabilities to reach our full potential. Couple things. First of all, Kouri, how the hell did you get a master's degree and write this poorly? Really? How?
Good question.
Between this and the Google searches. But also, one thing that the forensic accountant pointed out is that there is absolutely no proof that she had 147 employees. She did not carry.
There's no proof she didn't have one employee.
No, she didn't carry that kind of money to have a payroll. There's no proof of her having a payroll. She paid some contractors. But yeah, 147 employees was a flat out lie.
Holy shit, yeah. But you see, PPE loans, they were for payroll.
Yeah.
So I worked for a company that got one, that kept us open for another 6 months before I got laid off.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any employees, how are you getting payroll money?
Right.
I am not saying that she used that bio for a PPE loan. I don't know that.
No.
But having worked for a company that got a PPE loan that did have multiple employees, that's what that money was supposed to be for.
Yeah. Okay, where the money went. So the accountant traced a lot of the transactions after Eric's death, including large payments towards debt, we know, a $25,000 payment to Kouri's boyfriend, a $50,000 payment to the Utah State Tax Commission, and numerous vendor and loan payments. And I believe she also gave her mother some money. On cross, of course, we had Nestor. Basically, they were arguing that many real estate investors use hard money lenders, which is, for flippers, that is true. Trying to hammer, drill down on the fact that flipping homes often involves temporary high debt, which is also true.
Right.
But you're supposed to walk out of it with a profit in your hand. Some accounts tied to Eric's businesses still held 6-figure balances. Yeah, right. That's why she was allowed to keep writing all these bad checks.
Right.
She did not have access to certain business accounts that were Eric's, which is true. I didn't really understand why any of those things really negated what the state was proving, in that her financial situation was completely out of control.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Nestor just really wanted to fight with the forensic accountant because she was mad because this information got in.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't want any of this to get in because this makes Kouri look desperate. It definitely supports her motive.
Yep. And you're right, Candy. She had no right to them because of the prenup.
Right.
The prenup was brilliant, and they did kind of keep her at arm's length with Eric's business. He and his partner, that was their business, and that was wise to do, or that business probably would have tumbled as well.
Well, but if at one point Kouri and the other partner's wife both had access and were doing like the accounting or doing like the bookkeeping kinds of things for the stonemason business, and at some point, these are the words that were used, Kouri's access was revoked.
Right.
Gee, I wonder why.
They had to back her off.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's a good point. The boyfriend's payment could have been a repayment of a loan. Yeah, no kidding, huh?
It could have been. We've heard so little
About
about
him.
him so
Yeah.
far. But yeah, a lot of you have said, and I agree, it's interesting that you don't see his name down as an investor. Like, was she taking him for money? But he's not listed as an investor or a source of a loan. But then again, she wasn't exactly keeping everything. The bookkeeping wasn't great. Let's just say it that way.
No, not good. There was a moment where Nestor asked the accountant if she had done a study on Kouri's life insurance health. And she said, well, no, because she's alive.
Duh.
And then Nestor was like, well, you can borrow against some of those. So, that's what. Anyway, she said that all of Eric's were term, not comprehensive, but
yeah,
anyway.
They didn't have any that they could borrow from.
Yeah. That just really cracked me up. She was like, well, no, because she's alive.
Yeah.
At one point,
nobody killed her and took that money.
Yeah. The forensic accountant did overspeak. They're supposed to answer the question that's asked only. And boy, and the state let her do it. She just embellish, or not embellish, but I mean, she would just, continue to expound on something. And the defense didn't like that, which I understand. I mean, there's reasons for that. They want you to say only what they want you to say. And any good lawyer knows that you never ask a question that you don't know the answer to. So you just want the answer, right? And at one point she said to Nestor asked her a question and she said, well, but before I do that, can I say something about these dates? And she said, no, you can't.
Yeah, she didn't like it. The problem, I think, is that what Nestor wanted were yes or no answers. Yes. And this forensic accountant was like, this is a lot more complicated than you are than you are understanding, or at least admitting. And I can't just say yes or no, because there's more to it than that.
But she was unflappable. She really was. I was very impressed by her.
Exact dollar amounts, dates that things happened that were years ago. And like, it was wild. Yep. The stuff that she could remember right off the top of her head. I was blown away.
Yep. Something else really interesting towards the end of the day came up. This was when Nestor was asking Carrington if she knew about the contents of a safe in the garage. And this is not something we've heard about before. And I
only just very briefly.
And she hit on something that I think the state will probably pull up now, but there was a backpack apparently in this safe that had $10,000 in cash in it.
Well, we've heard that there was a large amount of cash in a safe a time or two, but I'd never heard an exact dollar amount about it.
No, or that it was in a backpack. Like, was this a go bag?
Yeah, like, why was it?
What was this about?
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting, and I wondered if the defense accidentally opened the door on something when they asked about that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that's very... And I mean, maybe people with a lot of money probably do keep a large amount of cash for emergencies. Rhonda has a piggy bank with a few 20s in it. That's about what we've got.
There you go. Right.
But yeah, whose was that? Why was it there? What did that mean? Yeah.
Right. And I don't know. When that all came out, it got uncomfortable, and I thought, does she mean for that all to come out? Or was this another misspeak? I don't know. I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
Right? Was it for the trip? Good question, Candy. Was it for the trip with the BFF?
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, the boyfriend. Right? That's chump change for Kouri. She's out spending $3 million.
She's going to a luxury prison for the rich, don't you know? Kouri thinks she's rich. all along here. And all you
Mm-hmm.
can see is just massive amounts of debt.
Mm-hmm. So the biggest takeaways from the state was the life insurance money and how quickly it went. The snapshot of the negative net worth, that her net worth was negative 1.6 million, and then she had 7.5 million in debt, and that 80,000 a month in debt payments. I think those are things that would be shocking for anyone on the jury to hear.
Yeah.
And really gives you a pretty good peek into how much she was drowning in debt and how desperate she may have been.
Just really how out of control she was.
Mm-hmm. The
Just
Midway Mansion
driving this debt
timing.
up over and over again.
Yeah, yeah, couldn't stop. The Midway Mansion closing, the fact that she closed on a property the day after her husband died, is kind of eye-raising or eyebrow-raising, I think.
Well, and she was pushing so hard on that house. There was this, she had this idea that this house was going to solve all her problems. And she was trying to get everybody she knew to invest in that thing.
Yeah.
Because she was sure this was the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she ended up losing it.
Yeah. Yep. Candy, it's a good point. She said, don't forget the day she was arrested. She was getting a loan on the home that belonged to her bestie for $97,000.
Right. And that wasn't that the same bestie who'd already given her $45,000 as a down payment on that house? And she lost that house.
Yep.
That's
Then
gotta
just
suck.
the evidence of all of the financial chaos. 77 overdrafts in December, $91,000 in failed transactions, $60,000 in bad checks she wrote to herself. Those are the biggest things that got hammered in on. And there were others, but those were the ones that I think were probably the biggest takeaways for the jury of, holy shit, this is what we're looking at here. I keep thinking about in Lori Vallow's trial, Rob Wood did the opening. And the first thing he said was sex, money, and power.
Yep.
That is no different than this case.
No,
She
not
checks
at all.
all the boxes. It's just, she checks all the boxes, you know?
Yeah.
We had someone here in our chat last night that was saying that they just don't think that being an adulterer makes you a murderer. Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't.
No.
However, there is a formula here that we have seen in many, many cases where a spouse is murdered. And there is almost always sex, money, and power.
Yep.
Almost always.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, people cheat all the time that don't kill their spouses. However, when there is a murdered spouse, there is just practically always an affair involved. It's just, they go hand in hand.
They really do.
Yeah.
It is just wild. But the behavior that Kouri exhibited that showed that she didn't give a flying fuck about anyone.
No.
Anyone was fair game.
Yep.
Her bestie gave her $45,000 as a down payment on this house, and then Kouri was going to take a loan on this house and then become the like she would pay the mortgage, her friend would pay her kind of situation.
Yeah.
She immediately put that $45,000 on other bills.
Yeah.
And the defense was very defensive about that. Well, she knew that when the time came, she'd have that money. Well, she could have just, put it in a savings account and protected it until the time came. But no, she took that money and threw it on a whole bunch of other bills. Just more debt, more debt, more debt. Yeah. Can you imagine doing that to someone who is supposedly like your best friend? They're texting back and forth about how excited the friend is about buying her first house. And, oh my God, this is so scary. I can't believe I'm spending $45,000 and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And all along, this was a fucking con.
Yep.
That's so sad.
Well, yeah. I can't even imagine how many people, and we'll learn a lot more about this in the financial trial of the amount of people that she actually hosed, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is just the financial stuff that's directly related to the murder. The
Hmm.
whole other trial is going to be fucking crazy.
Oh yeah. It's these numbers right here. This is nothing. Carrington will probably be on the stand for a week in that one. But I was
Probably.
very impressed with her. I thought she held her own really well. I was very impressed with her brain. Her ability to remember things was astonishing.
Oh my
And the
god. She's
fact that she
brilliant.
left no doors open for the defense to attack because she was correct.
Right.
They tried on
Right.
a
And
few things, but
it just didn't go. Like,
no. Yeah.
yeah, 36, right, Candy Wrapper. Sounds like Candy Wrapper's got some local tea on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, 36 charges.
Yeah.
When is that trial? After this one. It's not set yet.
Yeah. I don't think it's scheduled, is it?
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Yep. Oh, yeah. This is just number one, Leanne. Er,
Mhm. Did
sorry, Leanna. Yeah.
Yeah, because they decided that there was no way they could do all of the financial crimes and the
Hmm.
fraud and everything in this trial, and they wanted this trial to focus on the murder and then do a second for all the financial stuff. So yeah,
I'm glad they
I mean
split these. That seems right.
this is like the Alec Murdoch of
Yes.
Summit County, Utah kind of situation.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yep.
And yes,
Without,
somebody said, and I noticed it too, that she was breathing really fast and shallow, that she was sinking down in her chair.
well, we
This is
started the day with Kouri
embarrassing
sobbing.
shit.
She was
Yes.
sobbing when court started. She cried for
Yeah,
most of the day, off and on. She
she
came back
did.
from lunch looking like she'd cried all the way through lunch. I just thought that
Hmm.
was so wild because she didn't cry when they talked about
And they,
Eric's death. She didn't cry when they shared
no,
autopsy photos. She didn't cry when they shared the video of Katie learning about his death, or getting to the house and completely falling apart. She didn't cry. But
no,
today, with everyone hearing about all of her financial shitstorm, she cried the whole day.
yeah. This is what embarrassed her, I think,
Hmm. Yep.
is to see what a disaster her
Yeah.
business was.
Yeah. Yep. These were the things she didn't want to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, the financial crimes trial, that's going to be real tough on Miss Kouri. Uh, but I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty telling today, to be honest.
Yes, I did too. I did too. And yeah, the fast, shallow breathing, the tucking in, like, yeah, this was really
Hmm.
getting to her.
Yep. Yep. One highlight for Nestor today, the judge made a ruling on an objection, and she said, "Oh, Your Honor,
Yeah.
how?"
She's getting away with some shit. Although one of you
Yeah.
said, and I think that this is a valid point, that Nestor has probably had to be pretty tough to get to where she's gotten to is as a woman in
I'm
law in
sure.
Utah. And that's
Yes.
a very valid point. And the other thing that I really have some empathy for with Nestor is that she's also representing Tyler Robinson
Hmm.
right now.
Yep.
And so she's got two like really high level, high scrutiny cases.
Yeah.
And that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like Bloodworth too. There was a moment
I
today
like him,
where
but I think he's pretty milk toast. I think he could fight
he
harder on
is.
some of the shit that Nestor gets away with.
He could. I wonder if it's just not worth it to him, but sometimes it seems like he's not really paying attention. But there was a
Hmm.
moment today during Cross where you can see like Nestor standing here at the podium and you can see him sitting at the state's table, and the expressions on his face were so damn funny. I know he wasn't trying to put on a show, but he kept kind of looking at her and
Yeah,
anyway, I really had to laugh.
really?
Yeah.
Well, as she just tries to re to start the same fights over and over again that the judge has already ruled on.
Uh-huh.
I think that the defense and the prosecution and the judge are both pretty tired of, hey,
Yeah.
we already fought this fight and I made
Hmm.
my ruling.
Yep. Yep. You don't suppose that could give either one of these defendants an appellate issue because she didn't have time for both of them? No, because
No.
she's got she's got teams,
Yeah, she's got teams on both.
on both.
So I don't think so.
Somebody asked last night if her, or maybe it was in the chat, but wanted to know if Tyler Robinson has the whole defense team. No, he only has Nestor and then 2 men.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So no, they're off. Those other 2 are working on that one. Utah's like Idaho. They don't have enough attorneys. They don't have enough death penalty certified attorneys. It's we run into, and then they don't have enough
public defenders.
Public defenders, yeah. And so we kind of run into this place where this is what happens. Like around here, I mean, every death penalty case, who do we see? We see Jim Archibald and we see John Thomas because that's who we have.
Yeah. They're just on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's very similar there in Little Summit County.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kristi, for the super chat. And the super chat is on. Always appreciated, never required. But yeah, these trials are, they are all consuming. Yes.
They are, man. I sleep like a rock at night. I am so tired by the time the day is done.
My husband loves some of these trials. He gets pretty into all of the evidence and whatnot. He hates Kouri Richins, man.
Oh, does he?
Rhonda
loves it. She's always
Rhonda's
coming upstairs for a break from work. What's going on? What's going on? Who's on stand? What's going on?
We've had some that he gets way into, but this is not one of them. It is what it is. Yes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. This would have been a death penalty case, but the family of Eric Richins took off the table. Right. They didn't want the death penalty. Utah's probably not going to execute a woman, guys. They just aren't. Okay.
It's not worth it.
Like Idaho.
Yep.
Not going to happen. So why go through all of the extra work and expense for something that they're likely not going to do?
Right.
It's the same with Lori Vallow here in Idaho. Like,
it just opens the doors for so many more appeals, for the whole damn thing to drag on for so many more years.
Yeah.
And no, they're never going to execute a woman any more than Idaho is. So yes, why go for it?
Yeah.
Idaho just passed a law that now making changing our mode of execution to the firing squad. They've now made it official in the lawmakers.
Since 1892 here in Idaho.
Yes, but also they have passed a law now making it legal to inflict the death penalty on the most serious child abuse cases, which I think is laughable in Idaho because we let sex offenders walk free every day. So sure,
all
Jan,
the time, or
show
a
me
writer.
that.
Like we're gonna go from hardly punishing child sex offenders at all to death penalty. Yeah, right.
No, you're not. But somebody had posted about it and asked me about what I thought about that, and I said I hate it. And they were like, well, but child abusers, they should be executed. Okay, well, what child abusers, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the bar for this? Because no one's saying. But also, you have to really take a look at what the weight of death penalty cases is. We don't have enough death penalty certified attorneys in Idaho to represent people.
Not even close.
To be doing that, for one. For two, that will make these cases drag on for years, for decades, potentially. So victims get to be re-victimized by the system over and over and over again throughout their lifetimes because of the death penalty. It does not make sense. Put them in prison forever. I mean, Jesus, Idaho, you could start putting sex offenders in prison. You could start there.
Maybe.
But we're
That'd be great. Maybe actually charge all of them
to death penalty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, I don't know. Maybe let people out of prison for possession of marijuana.
Yeah.
And start putting the pedophiles in. We could do a swap that would make a lot more sense than what we're doing now.
Absolutely. It's true. Candy said it's a setup for a failure program. It totally is.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll just never happen.
So stupid.
Yep.
No.
It's just grandstanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, Judge Boyce has let a bunch of them off easy.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
We love Job Boyce in Daybell Vallow, but man,
I'd like to
he
kick him in the
disappoints.
jewels, frankly.
Hey, but do you remember in Utah, Judge Torgerson, who we reported on this one? He had given some really light sentences with kind of the whole,
yes.
affluence kind of argument that,
Mhm.
you're a good kid with money. We shouldn't put you in jail kind of attitudes.
Like literally said some shit like that in court. Ugh.
Yeah, he's being investigated now. Like this has
Good.
finally gotten some traction in looking at who this dude is and why he wants to let sex offenders run free. So so good job, Utah. Good job on that one, finally. Yeah.
Finally.
Yep. So
thank you, sweet doggy mama. Appreciate
it. Thank you so much. Yep. So here we are now. Court tomorrow doesn't start till 9:30 Mountain, so it's going to be a little shorter day. And the judge announced today that there will be no court on Friday. So happy Friday to everyone!
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's going to be amazing as well. So we'll be back over on the other page, the True Crime Squad trials page, to stream in the morning at 9:30.
Yes, we will.
So everyone,
yes,
you may sleep in.
I agree. Yeah, I agree, Paula, that Lindsay Blake has been really disappointing. A bunch of these cases that have gone terribly in Fremont County are Blake with Judge Boyce.
Yeah.
Sex offenders that are getting practically nothing. The baseball player from BYU. Like, come on.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, Paula says it's like she's resting on her laurels after Daybell. Right? She could be really doing some cool shit and changing things for the better in her county, and she is not doing that.
Know. Come on, Lindsay. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the Dylan Rounds case. Agreed, Candy Wrapper.
Oh, yeah. Boy. That was bullshit from the get-go to the end of it. Yep. Yep. So, no idea who we're going to see tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. Some of you were asking, are we going to see the best friend on the stand? Are we going to see the boyfriend on the stand? Who else does the state still have? They have now called, I'm going to say 26 or 27 witnesses.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Well, I know that because he mentioned today if there was still time, that he had about 3 different insurance representatives to testify that are from the life insurance companies. So I know we're probably getting them, I would bet, tomorrow.
Okay.
Because they were basically up next after the forensic accountant. So I know that's probably what we're seeing first.
Okay. Well, that will be sufficiently boring.
So boring. But they just come on and confirm the policy, how much it was. Really yes, it was paid out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Because part of her charges in this trial are the fraud to the insurance companies.
Yeah. No, Boyce isn't getting investigated. Judge Torgerson in Utah is getting investigated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Boyce has just been very disappointing with the help of Lindsay Blake.
Indeed. So, who knows? What's the jury thinking at this point? How the hell did I get stuck with this? That's probably
I would imagine today they're thinking, wow, she had a hell of a financial motive.
Yep. All righties. Well, let's do it. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being a part of the squad. If you haven't, please subscribe, like, share, follow, comment. Those things all help us a lot, and we appreciate you guys being here with us. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.
Join the Super Squad. Bonus laughs, deeper clues, same sharp sleuths, just extra clues.